Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Orthos with Boyan. I'm the Boyan Question, and today we will talk about the dangers of hyperfocusing. What do I mean by that? Well, I've noticed this certain trend in Orthodox online sphere, and by the way, that the only reason I noticed it there is because I'm a member of it itself. I'm pretty sure every one of you, if you spend some inordinate time online, that you will notice this fact. And that is that we tend, again, I'm only speaking this from the Orthodox point of view, but you can apply whatever conclusions that I may have, or questions, or ideas to everything else. Is that we tend to hyperfocus, and this is a very human thing to do. What do I mean by this? Well, ask yourself, what is the number one pressing danger to the Orthodox Church today? Just think about it for like 10 seconds, like if you could name one thing. Dun, 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 music, something. Depending on what you have answered to this question, I could probably gauge, your age and location. And for example, an American convert to Orthodoxy will probably say something along the lines of, wokeism. An American cradle who spends time online would probably say that it's those nasty ortho bros online pushing people away from the church. Ted older people would say that, oh, it is this or that or those content creators. People in Syria would be like people who are literally killing us right now, which is an actual danger as opposed to all of these things I've said. In Serbia, people would probably say something along the lines of either like secret services or the evil West, more probably evil West. A lot of people, and this is something that, makes it more difficult to gauge, like ecumenism and so on and so forth. I do not plan to give you any ideas what this pressing danger is, because it's essentially redundant. It doesn't really matter all that much. However, we tend to hyperfocus on these things. And I don't mind that all of us having certain interests in certain things, and that's fine. However, when it comes down to, and this is something that I of course fail a lot, is that our sole hyper focus should be on the three staples of our spiritual life: prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. Because all of them are so easy to forget and yet so difficult to do. Why? Because the demons know that that these are the three essential chains that bind us to Christ. And if you lack one of them, you're in a huge trouble. Just one. A lot of us, myself first, lack all three. And from that vantage point, a lot of these hyperfoci are essentially our distractions from Christ. Yeah, it's good I fought those people online about that icon of God the Father, and then I don't say my evening prayers. As Christ said when it came to all of these man-made traditions, he essentially said, I don't know how it goes exactly in English, but you should have done these things, but you should not have left these greater commands. He says something along those lines, and he doesn't say exactly greater. You should have done this, but should not have abandoned the other ones as well. Again, it is hyperfocusing, and yes, it is something that us human beings do. Yes, it helps us to actually survive in this horrific natural environment. Most of us who live in the cities or relatively stable settlements do not actually perceive as something that's really aiding our survival, but for the majority of human history, that's what it was, and thank God for it. However, now that we are settled, sort of speak, it can, and very often does, goes really against our true and honest life of Christ, because our attention is everywhere but on the Lord. If I could sort of rank Christian teachings, I honestly believe that theosis would come like top tier, right next to the Trinity, because it sort of really settles on what is the goal of our earthly Christian life. And that goal is that union with the divine nature. And this is straight out of the first epistle of Peter, chapter 5. Look it up. I'm not saying something horrible. He literally says it, St. Peter, the apostle. So our essential goal here has no end. It's eternal, it's endless. And that's why it's so great. And we reach it, or constantly are reaching it, through these three things. Of course, the issue is that Christ commands us not to talk about personal experiences when it comes to this, because, again, people who talk about these things tend to do it because they want praise, and people who, upon hearing these sort of things, tend to praise people, so it's a double-edged sword. So yeah, literally think, what is that you're hyper-focusing in your spiritual life that's not these three things? And if you're hyper-focusing, bringing down a notch or 20 or 100, again, it's fine as an interest, as a side hustle, if you would like me to put it that way, but as our main preoccupation, no. Bye.